Welcome back, awesome people, to Cocktails and Consoles. It's Melissa, and I cannot begin to tell you how happy I am because Mr. Review Toobz himself is on the channel! Yay!
Hello!
How are you doing?
I'm awesome, and because I've watched so many of these interviews, and what I didn't realize is that I'm actually on a camera looking up at you right now, so I'm getting the interview that I normally see from a completely different angle. It's actually surreal. It's fantastic.
Thank you. It took me a while to come up with this setup. I'm like, how can I talk with someone, show them what I'm making, and do it all on camera from far away? And the best thing I come up with is this cute little treasure box with my laptop on top of it with a camera pointing at everything.
That's fantastic. It's really cool because I never realized that it was actually the camera was looking right up. So fantastic, and I'm really happy to be here. I love what you do. Yeah, I'm excited. Right?
Yay! Oh, I'm so excited. If you guys have not seen his channel, where have you been? Oh my God, the videos that this guy does, you can just tell the passion that he has for what makes a great video. You know what's weird? Looking at your video, you know what it reminds me of? Do you ever remember the show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now that you've said that, my original voice, my original, like, the goofy voice that I put on, if you go back to my really early one, please don't go back to the early. But if you do, it was that Robin Lynch type of voice, trying to get, like, you know, what I really wanted. I have that beach scene that I use quite often, and I've got the sparkly review tubes. What I really wanted was like the helicopter flyover of a beach, and then I was gonna try to do all this and, you know, and do review tubes and all this like goofy voice. But yes, that was what I originally went for. It has thankfully evolved into its current form because I look back at it and I'm like, ugh, but it's good stuff to cringe at later. So that's a good point for YouTubers out there. If you have old videos that you just cringe at, don't delete them. Keep them because it's fodder for a video for later.
There you go. We all have to start somewhere. When you were about to start that first video, like what were the feelings that you were going on in you?
Well, for me, the way it really started, and I was trying to fill in time. I tried a few different projects, like making apps, I've made a game, and none of them really paid off the way that I wanted it to. And then I ended up watching a lot of YouTube because I had time to do it, and I decided, well, how about I make a YouTube video? I'll give that a shot and see what happens. And I obsessed over the very first video, which is just garbage, by the way. The very first one is crap. But I obsessed over it and wrote it up in my head and thought about it for quite a few days before I even attempted to go and try to record something. And I put it together. I started to figure out how to use the editing suite, which I've used a lot of the Adobe. I use Premiere as my go-to, but I've used a lot of other Adobe products, and I'm quite proficient with those ones, but I hadn't really used Premiere all that much. So it was good to go back and start learning the program again. And I think that first one, which I could probably put that together in about an hour and a half now. I think it must have taken me 5 or 6 hours to do, and to go back, and then I obsessed over every single frame, and it went up, and I think it had 2 views, both of them mine, and I'm not sure, it might still be at that. No, some people have gone back and actually commented on it. It was, so that's always good. People, you know, if they're going back and looking into your old catalog, I wish they wouldn't, but you know, there it is. But that's how I got started into it. And the beginning part is such a grind. There is so much work that goes into it with very little feedback. But you start getting the feedback. You start making friends online. You were actually one of the very first ones that I met online, along with a few. Yeah, absolutely. Yay. So you were one of the first ones in the inner circle.
First.
There's a few other YouTubers that definitely have sort of been there the whole time and been there for the whole journey, and that's a very important part as well, because then you start getting feedback, you start giving feedback, and you start just interacting, and it becomes this fun community. And I don't know that a lot of people realize just how surreal that can be and how exciting that can be to be a part of something like that. Because one, it's an entertainment medium, but two, it's an interaction medium.
Right.
You know, you're interacting in so many different ways, and being able to share your creativity as a creator and also have that as an interactive communication with other people is terribly exciting.
It is. Because we've all gone through this. When your channel has been on for a while and you'll get the highs of the, the subs and the views, and you're just like, oh my god, this is why I made this channel. And then for no reason whatsoever, it'll just whoosh, and it'll stay stagnant for a while for reasons no one could even think of. It could just be just the season for it, but it's tough to get through that. What gets you through those kind of lulls?
I think making more content gets me through. It inspires me to make more. So if I get something that isn't responded to well, then I'm an analyst. I have to analyze a lot of things. I have to look at why things work and why things don't work, and I have to make little adjustments. So as I'm going through each video, I've made an adjustment from the previous one that I made, and I looked at, okay, what were the watch times? What were the times that I released it, and what times work best? And I'm still figuring it out. What times are working the best and what sort of content. And what I've found from my stuff, at least, I had a lot of lulls, a lot of where I would only get very, very few views. And I think I was asking a lot of commitment from people from some of my videos. And I don't know that they would actually stay there for everything. And I found that for the stuff that I was making, I'm better off at that scripted. So I script myself, get the voiceover recorded really nicely, cut out a lot of the stuff in the middle. So it's like a wham bam, thank you ma'am. I'm only asking for 2 minutes of your time, please. Come in, watch my video, have a chuckle, leave some comments, subscribe and tell your friends. That has worked. It's really once I sort of realized that I need to do that I started getting a lot of growth on the channel. And since then, it hasn't really slowed down. It's been varying degrees of going up, which is really exciting. But I see a lot of the people that are subscribing to me are also people that are other creators. And I think they like that. So I try to give something back. I try to get them hooked up with some other great creators and content creators like what we've done. We just finished up doing your interview for the channel review that I'm doing of you.
Yay!
Which is very exciting. I've wanted to do that one for a while. And then, we're doing this interview, which is really exciting for me. But I also try to give back with some YouTubing tips in some of them and little bits and pieces. And I've actually got one video that I'm sitting on at the moment that really goes much more into detail about what's working for me right now and frame of mind. We talked about it a little bit in your interview. Some of the points sort of came up, but I haven't fully gone into it. But I will, and that's what I want to try to do is give back to the community. And I think people respond to that. And I try to, again, do it quick, do it fast, do it sweet, so that I'm not asking too much commitment from people, and they can just come in, enjoy, and then look forward to the next one.
Wow, yeah, you bring up a very good point. And this, beyond just your videos, because your videos are beautiful, and I think I'm responding in the way that you're hoping that the viewers respond, that there's just it's like a roller coaster. The second you step on, you're entertained all the way through, and you end up leaving going, wow, that was a great experience. But the way you look at YouTube, and I'm so grateful every time that you put up videos about, like what works for you and things like that. It's so helpful because, you're kind of thrown into, unless you're a producer or a videographer or, where cameras and all that are your medium, this is like such new territory for so many people, and it's so great. With your analytical mind and the stuff that you share, you're like, oh my God, I never thought of looking at, my videos that way. And wow, why did I never think of, making them shorter and, things like that. You were just a wealth of information.
I've like I've run a lot of businesses and I've set up businesses before as well. So that's that's sort of I manage my channel, I guess, is the best way to sort of, that I look at it. And I manage every aspect of it, and I try to be very aware of every aspect. There is, and this is going to get into some of the stuff that I'll touch in this other video, but there's a lot of people that they will sort of focus in on one area and they don't even realize that they need to get into the other areas. And I've divided up into 4 P's.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes, because you heard the other interview that I did with Twitching Snake, where I did talk about this. And I'll give you a really quick rundown. But it's preparation, performance, production, promotion. So you've got those 4 different aspects. And someone that is really into let's say performance. So this is someone that they'll throw up a game, let's say Overwatch, just as an example. And they could perform the crap out of it. They're really good at it. They get all the trick shots and no scopes and the other things that the kids are doing these days. And I'm sorry, I'm not an Overwatch player. Please don't.
Me either.
I think it's a really cool game. I like watching a lot of the guys that play it, but I don't think I'd ever be able to keep up. So I'm doing you a favor by not playing. But they could perform that really well, and that could get a lot of hits for it. Right? They don't need to edit down much stuff, just get a big solid chunk of stuff. But there is the production side of it. If you focus more on production, you can really sort of reel it in, and you can make something that's already exciting even more exciting. Preparation in the first part. This is one that I think a lot of people do miss. Is the preparation, and that comes down to all sorts of different mediums and different topics and different styles that you're going to do. Some of the best preparers tend to be the beauty bloggers.
Yes.
Because they know they've got everything laid out in front of them. They know we're going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this. I know which one I'm going to pick up, I know which one I'm going to do here, I know which one I'm going to do here. So they're very, very well prepared. They've spent a lot of time doing that preparation so that when they actually go to do the performance of being in front of the camera, it's all very good. And then they just trim out some of the little bits and pieces they don't need, pop it up, and away you go. So I think I probably spend the most time in my editing suite. So I'm very, very big. I'm actually big on all aspects of it. I'm huge on the preparing, depending on what type of video I'm doing. Like when I go to do the small channel review, there's a ton of preparation. I've already started, which is why I only do one every 2 weeks. So I've done a lot of preparation. I'm still doing preparation for your one, intermixed with some performances. Obviously, we've got the interview that we did, and I'll take a bunch of clips from that and intersperse it into the video itself. And then finally, there's promotion, and this is the tough one. This is the tough one. You have to be somewhat aggressive. I think, with your promoting, and if you have taken care of the other 3 steps, then people will thank you. But if you are just aggressive with your promoting and your videos, you didn't put any work into it, or you didn't put thought into it, people are going to click on it and probably not going to stick around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that sometimes it comes down to even things like the quality of your audio and stuff like that. And sometimes they don't have enough money to get a microphone or something like that, or get the proper equipment. But you can still work around that. Before I got my setup, I used to record on the mic of my my webcam. I just would hold it in front of my face.
No kidding.
And record like that. And there is things that you can do to edit to do the mastering of your audio, but I firmly believe that mastering your audio and balancing your audio is really, really important. That's one of my things. I'm sorry, that was a very long answer.
No, that was great. And this is the stuff, oh my God. When I first came across your channel, I could see what you put into your videos. I saw easily as the recipe of success for your channel is that analytical mind, that business view that you take and you look at, you know, each video in this lens, plus the passion, because clearly you are very passionate of putting out some high quality videos, and it shows. And bringing that together, and not only releasing videos like that, but releasing videos, you know, sharing this kind of knowledge, people are going to gravitate to so fast. Even just hearing about the 4Ps today, and I started thinking to myself, like, because I'm gonna be doing an Undertale one here pretty soon, I'm like, oh my god, I never thought about preparation, about like storyboarding what I want to shoot and how. And you got me thinking about that. Now I'm hoping that that video is going to be like 10 times better, and people are going to enjoy it 10 times more than what it was originally going to be.
Yes, okay, so you did ask me to name this cocktail as well.
Yes.
And I think that we had come up with a name for the cocktail when we were chatting on Twitter, but I do want to change that. This is actually going to be in honor of, and I don't know if you're announcing it on this interview, but I'm announcing it for you, I suppose, that you're going to be doing Undertale.
Yes, I am. I'm so excited.
So you have the choice. There's two different names. This can be either Under Cocktail or Cock Undertale. It's whatever one you want. I'm happy.
Undertale or Cock Undertale?
Cock Undertale. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I like that one.
So we're gonna call it the Cock Undertale.
The Cock Undertale. Cool. I have to make sure I write that down. As far as, you know, as bad as I feel like throwing people on the spot, like, hey, you get to name your cocktail, I forget I'm on camera and I can't write this down. So this lovely gentleman right here is both a fan of bourbon and of beer. So I wanted to pull something together that not only brought those things together in a really cool way, but I really curse the fact I couldn't find it. But I'll tell you guys how to do this. When you're working with bourbon and things like that, and you want to cool it down, but you don't want to water it down, the best thing I can recommend, and you don't have to go out and buy this, they're called whiskey stones. Is basically just either a little bit of steel or a little bit of stone or ceramic, which you keep it in the freezer, and you put it in your drink, and you can even decorate these as long as you cover it with a food safe sealant. I wanted to make one for you that had all the sparkles in it, but my local Michaels sadly did not have the things that I needed for that. But that's something that you guys can do. Will work really well with this because you are working with bourbon, which tends to not like to be watered down. So
I've got some of those whiskey rocks in my freezer right now.
yes, they're so helpful.
Just saying.
And I know people like the steel ones. Honestly, I like the stone and the ceramic simply because stone holds a temperature better and longer than steel.
I think the look of them too. I like the look of the stone better than the steel. Like the steel's got that sort of sleek, modern look, but
Totally.
it also looks like you've dropped some furnishings into your cup.
It does, doesn't it? It drives me a little bit crazy.
Yeah. The stones look in there like, you know, it's bourbon on the rocks, right?
Right.
But they're rocks. They are literally rocks.
They are, and you can, you know, decorate
safe
the heck
rocks.
out of them. Yeah, so you do have to find the sealant there. You can get it at any Michaels. You can spray it over once you get done painting it. I'd spray it a couple of times, let it cure, but you can do that. So for this one, what we're starting out with is a couple of cherries on the bottom, which sadly my local Safeway didn't have fresh cherries, so we are going with the Luxardo cherries, which are a little bit better than the maraschino. I think it has a lot more flavor, so I love using those. And we're gonna muddle the heck out of them, just to break it up. So the pieces that are going into this drink, it's gonna look a lot like an old-fashioned, whereas you muddle the cherries at the bottom and then you add in the whiskey, or in this case it's gonna be bourbon, and then a little bit of the juice, and then finally the quote-unquote filler, which I hate to say it, but it's what's normally done to extend the drink. But this one at least uses beer, so I feel like it's better for it. So we'll start off with 1 ounce of bourbon. We're gonna add it to our glass here. Now that we've muddled up the cherries, we're gonna muddle them up one more time just to really get that cherry flavor, infuse it into the bourbon, and to get some of the cherry pieces off our muddler. So because I don't have the stones, instead I'm using this very, very large block of ice, because the larger that the ice is, the slower that it will melt.
That looks challenging.
It is slippery little devil. So now we've added that to the glass, and then we're gonna add in about 2 to 3 ounces of lemonade. You can also use limeade. Cherries work equally well with both lemons and limes. But for this one, because we're going very heavy cherry, I figured let's go lemonade. Since this is technically supposed to be a punch. And then finally, any kind of tart cherry ale that you can find. This is one of my most favorite beers of all times, next to Guinness, which is the Duchesse de Bourgogne. I always pronounce that incorrectly. That's the closest I've been able to. But you can use any kind of tart cherry ale. It's going to work. And then...
I'm quite a big Guinness fan myself.
Oh, I love me some Guinness.
Just make sure you chew before you swallow.
Yes. That is one hearty brew. And then we just top it off with the beer. And you can make this in a batch. You can serve it as, you know, in a big punch bowl for parties. But there you have it.
Oh, that looks awesome.
The under cocktail.
How's the taste?
Oh, that's really good. You know, at first I thought the lemonade was going to be too much, but given the cherries that we've muddled and the cherry flavor in the beer, it actually cuts through it quite nicely.
It looks fantastic.
Thank you. And see how that would have looked if I had that big sparkling...
Yes, you would have had the whole look, but it looks really good, just as it is there. The large ice cube looks fantastic, and I am looking forward to getting the recipe and making one myself.
Yay! And the recipe will be down below as per usual. Or you can always hit me up on Twitter, and I'm happy to give it to you that way too. Well, Mr. Review Toobz, thank you so much for being on the show. I just love talking. I could talk to this guy for hours and hours. He's just one of those friendly guys who you will lose track of time talking to him because he's just a wealth of information and just one of the most caring people.
It also helps that I really enjoy the sound of my own voice.
It's a good... You have that radio voice. I'm so jealous.
I actually, like, my actual, like, talking voice, I cringe at it. I really have a tough time listening to it. So what I had to learn to do is really enjoy the sound of my, like, talk in a way that I enjoy listening to it.
Right.
And also talk almost in a way that doesn't sound like me. And then I can stand it enough that I can actually edit them down and actually produce content. So, yeah, I've worked on it. I have definitely worked on it because this doesn't come naturally to me at all.
Right? This is so out of the realm for so many people. And do I have time to talk about this? Okay, I'll throw this in real quick. It's funny you mentioned that because I would recommend YouTube to anyone who has ever felt self-conscious about how they look, how they sound, any of that. Start doing YouTube because then you're going to have to stare at yourself for hours and hours on end while you edit. You start to become pretty comfortable with yourself pretty fast.
Absolutely, yes. It's definitely good for the soul.
Mm-hmm. Especially when those comments start coming in, you start meeting fellow creators. YouTube has been one of the best things I've ever could have done in my life. And if you are thinking of doing a YouTube channel, go do it. Go do it, go do it, go do it.
And if you're a narcissist, you're absolutely going to love it.
This is true. You start to get those tendencies. Like, I could stare at my video for 2 hours like, wow, I look good in that shot.
What are you talking about? You look good in every shot.
Oh. Well, thank you so much. Looking forward to all these new videos you got coming. And you guys, go sub. Go do it. You'll be so grateful you did it. Good luck on the challenges. And if you find any tips, let me know. And I'll catch you, and I'll catch you awesome people in the next episode.
So long.